What is up, guys? It's Penguin Typer here, back with another video, and in today's video I will be talking about just how competitive Season 27 is, because I'm not a competitive player. I don't grind, and I don't waste my life. However, I'm looking at this, I think to myself, how do people do this? So, let's get right into it and try to uncover just how insane Season 27 is. So we're about 40 days through the season, almost halfway there, and we can already see that some people are really putting in the work. Kocho hit 7 million points pretty recently, and if we go to top teams, Sharks hit 400,000 races. Holy cow. That's insane. Yeah, and these are just the top teams, but if we still go down, the 5th place team still has 192,000 races. My team, we're in 11th. We have 100,000 races. That's ridiculous. So I think it's definitely important to realize just how insane this season is, because we're 40 days through and people are already hitting almost 50k races for individual and over 400,000k races, 400,000 races for team. If we go to season 26, which was also 3 months, by the end of the 3-month season 26. Kocho was at 57,000 races. And at the end of season 26, Dog only had 363,000 races. That's pretty insane to think about, because we're only halfway through season 27, and the number one player and the number one team already have more races than last season's 90-day winners. That's just ridiculous. So I'm going to be trying to figure out what's happening and why people are being this active. And I think there's a really big factor that's been going into this, and that is called quarantine. Yes, because a lot of the world is currently on some sort of lockdown where people can't really leave their houses and go do what they normally do. So a lot of people are finding themselves with hours and hours and hours of free time, including myself, actually. And some people decide to spend that by playing Nitro Type for 12 hours a day. And this video is not going to be talking about how much I dislike people who grind, you do you, I guess. But I am definitely going to say that people are spending a lot more time on this game than they were recently. Or they were, before quarantine. And I think the quarantine's a pretty big factor that, if I'm forced to stay home for 24 hours a day and I have nothing better to do, I might just play a couple hours of Nitro Type. And a lot of people are playing a lot more than a couple hours of Nitro Type. So I think it's cool to see how people are spending their time in quarantine and the choices that they're making towards playing Nitro Type for such a long time. If we go down to top racers in the season and we scroll down to 100th place, this is nowhere near the top. That's 7,000 races in 40 days. That's half a year worth of grinding for me, and I don't even grind. So it's just really cool to think about just how active this season is. And obviously, there's also a second factor: short races. Way back on November 30th, 2019, races were shortened from 40 seconds to 25 seconds. And that was taken into effect, so November 2019, so that would have been around season 24, I believe? Yeah, so if we look at season 24, people were doing 19,000 races in a singular month. Mal hit almost 20k races in a singular month. And that was pretty much peak activity back then. And that was at the end of season 24. But now if we head over to season 27, people are doing almost 50k races in a month. And one of the biggest factors for that is called short races. Back in November, races were shortened from 40 seconds to 25 seconds, meaning you could do 1.5 times as many races. I don't know the exact calculation, but you could do a lot more races than you could beforehand. So people are making this jump from 20k races in a singular month as being pretty insane to 50k. That's ridiculous. And short races definitely allow people to do more races, because the races are shorter, so it takes less time. But 50k races in a month back in November, before this update, would have been impossible. But now, because the races are half as long and take half as much time to do, it's definitely possible nowadays to hit 50k races in a singular month. So, quarantine, short races, and there's actually a third factor which I believe is leading towards a large amount of activity, and that's called the 9 words per minute strategy. For the first month or so of this season, people were abusing this strategy called the 9 words per minute strategy, where you raced at exactly 9 words per minute, used a nitro, and made the races about 10 to 15 seconds, enabling you to do so many more races than you would normally. This trick was popularized by a couple really big grinders, and it got super popular as the season started getting super competitive. Tons of top players and top teams were using this trick, or it's not even really an exploit, it's just a dumb strategy. And I've uploaded videos talking about 9 words per minute. Plenty of people have, and I'm not going to leave my opinion on it. It's stupid. But it was abused for a solid month or so of this season, leaving people able to get so many more races than even with the short races. So, like, we went from long races to short races to 9 words per minute, dropping races from 40 seconds down to about 15 seconds over the span of a couple months. And that just shows how much people are willing to grind, right? If you're willing to play at 9 words per minute and do 1,000 races every single day, you're not improving. Sure, you'll get good accuracy, but your words per minute is down in the drains, right? But you're not improving. And people are willing to do that and to race for like 12 hours a day, all just for the competition of a season with no rewards. Like, it's insane. Again, I don't want to hate on these people too much, but I just think it's ridiculous to think about how much people are willing to give and not to get back, right? You're putting all this much work into a season when in reality, like, what are you getting in the end? So it's really interesting to see how people are spending so much time and so much effort on the game when it's a massive competition. So short races, quarantine, and 9 words per minute all provided this huge amount of races that people were able to do for the first month of the season. However, 9 words per minute was patched. They deleted the nitro at under 15 words per minute, and some people were still doing 19 words per minute, but the strategy is just not as good. 19 words per minute is like the same as racing normally, I'm pretty sure. So, with all that settled, we're back to basically just short races. It'll be interesting to see how many races people finish the season at, because, you know, if we're less than halfway through and Coach is already at 50K, maybe she'll hit 100,000 races in the season. That's just ridiculous to think about. 3 months, 100,000 races. Like, it's going to take me 10 years to do 100,000 races. Oh my god, that's just, wow. And it really just shows how this game is changing. You know, back when I was a starting player, right, in like 2016, it took you, I think, 30K, 20K races to get onto the Hall of Fame, the top 100 for the most active people ever on the site. And now, I think yesterday, I was actually bumped out of the most active people on the site. I'm in like 105th right now with 44,000 races, I don't know. But it just goes to show how insanely active people are being, especially these days. You know, back around season 0.5, 100K races in a season would have been just absolutely impossible, unheard of, and completely ridiculous. But now, people are looking at where Kocho is going to end up, and they're like, yeah, kind of makes sense, I guess. Which is just insane. So Nightstripe is definitely changing to be a more competitive, grindy type game. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, and I think there's several steps that Nightstripe could take to abolish this whole no-life thing that's been going around, but whether they take them or not is not up to me because I'm not a worker for Nightstripe. However, it's going to be really interesting to see where the site eventually takes us, especially with Nitromath. Are there going to be grinders in Nitromath? Is that going to be super competitive? Hopefully not. But I think as long as the season leaderboards are there and grinders want to do their thing, grinders are going to do their thing. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of this no life. Even maybe when quarantine ends, it'll be very interesting to see how many races people do then. Let me know what you think about the whole new kind of activity that's been going around, right? People are being insanely active. What do you think? Do you think that people shouldn't be this active? Do you think that it's insane? Do you think that people are just doing what they're doing and it's completely normal? Let me know down in the comment section. I'm very interested to hear what you guys are thinking. And if any like top 100 leaderboard players right now are watching this video, let me know what you think, right? Because it's really interesting to see this insider perspective from someone who's spending 10 hours a day on typing. So yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Drop a like, subscribe, helps out the channel. Please, 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 please. And I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone, and have a wonderful day.